Happy New
Okay,
Year.
so to get started, what attracted you to the role of Anne in the first place, like as an actress to take on the role of Quiet Anne?
I was actually afraid of it to begin with. I was playing this other role on One Day at a Time, also a lesbian. And I didn't think, based on the description, that there was any way that I was going to get that job. But it was an incredible script, and I worked on it with a coach, and I've kind of built it based on the women that I've grown up with, and it was really fun and exciting. A little challenging to do, like an audition with no words. There was a monologue there that I had to work on just for the sake of getting the role, but it was really interesting to be able to work on and create something completely opposite to anything that I've ever done. So after having gotten the job, I was super excited, and working with this team of actors was only inspiring and encouraging to just like do and try and attempt different things, to just completely reinvent the character that I'd never done. I mean, a lot of the times people really want you to reinvent what you became popular for, like a type of Nurse Carla or someone from Zoila from Devious Maids. So completely re-identify myself was an exciting opportunity.
For sure. And what would you say? You said that you're very different from Quiet Anne. What would you say are any similarities you have to her, or what do you admire about her?
I mean, I admire her loyalty, her strength, her resilience, her honesty with herself and with her friends. Um, and I would say I have a lot of those qualities, you know. I'm not as quiet as that. um, I think that's, uh, it's her one group of people that she has to like realize herself and grow and evolve, you know. And I think she and I have that in common, and to become a better person as in whatever context that is. So I think that's like one of her greatest strengths. I don't know that the group really counts on her and relies on her, and they end up really loving her. So
For sure. Speaking of loyalty, why do you think that everyone is so loyal to Desna when maybe at this point she doesn't deserve it?
well, I mean, Quiet Anne obviously doesn't agree with that. I think, you know, having been the person who took everybody out of the worst place in their life when they met her, I feel like they feel like without her, they can't go to the next step, or they'd be stuck to who they were before then. You know, so I think that's the fallacy of everybody's loyalty. Obviously, Quiet Anne doesn't agree with that, because having found love outside of the group, she realizes that, you know, she's completely flawed and not, and even less perfect than Desna is than the rest of the group. So she needs to figure it out for herself.
Yeah, speaking of that, do you think the loss of Anne's wife and also Anne being pregnant was kind of the breaking point for her of, okay, it's my loyalty just can't be to Desna, it needs to be to myself and now this child?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's pretty evident that because she had this other person with whom she was going to start a new life and having a kid and everything, everything started falling apart. And she realizes that, you know, if it falls apart with Desna, I can take care of it myself. I can figure out a way. And that, I mean, obviously it becomes about revenge, vengeance, getting back at her for being part of, and you know, the flawed mentality of criminals, for lack of a better term, of people who just live underground. Uh, that's how they move ahead. They move forward. They get past the person who's in their way. Revenge eliminate them.
For sure. And other than Anne, which would you say is your favorite character?
Oh, what a great question. I love Jen. Jen is amazing. She's so funny, and she's such a kind and generous person, and you know, audacious and ready to just like try anything for anybody. I love Jason Antoon's character. What's his name? Oh my God, Carrie's ex. I can only think of his real name. The doctor.
Yes, 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 yes.
The doctor. I
Yeah.
love him. He's hilarious. He's hilarious. He's wonderful. Harold Perrineau, who's Dean. also wonderful. The choices that he makes and how he reinvents that character, really, really great. Carrie, all the multiple personality, Carrie and every single Polly's personalities are so exciting and so interesting to watch. Every week, I can't wait to see like who she's invented.
Yes,
Um,
for sure.
we could go on.
Yeah, they're all definitely interesting in their own right. And something that
I
also,
love everybody.
yeah, something that also stands out about the show is kind of like the outlandish and out there wardrobe, but your character has a bit more of a laid back wardrobe. Were you kind of excited about that, that there would kind of be less time to prepare for the role, or do you wish that you kind of had a different wardrobe as the character?
I loved everything about not having to dress up in that way, but Quiet and still dressed up, and as the seasons progress, she dresses up a little bit more. So she's very dapper, very handsome, very sharp, very ready to, do whatever needs to be done in whatever wardrobe. Amazing shoes, and the hair is always done. So it does take. I think when I got there earlier, at the same time that the other actresses did, it was just to get my hair braided or curled or twisted or set for the week or for the entire episode. But other than that, I did gain 10 pounds when I first started working on the show because I was just wearing big, giant, baggy clothes. I lived at that craft service table. And I loved it. I loved it. And I don't think in the last 4 seasons that I was on the show, and since COVID after that, I have not worn a heel unless I absolutely had to. And my favorite thing, not wearing makeup was great. Um, and my skin was a lot better. So it was really like refreshing.
Yeah, for sure. And she definitely, even though it's a bit more laid back, I feel like her streetwear is definitely elevated in a sense and unique and definitely speaks to her character.
And I have to give Dolores, our costume designer, all the credit for that because she had a really clear vision of what every single character was, and particularly Quiet Anne in terms of like whatever her story was happening, whatever she wanted her to wear. If it was a formal, she'd get her the perfect jacket with the great sneakers. I mean, she just had a huge investment and a real clear vision of what Quiet Anne was going to be like. And we'd spend hours at those fittings because it was the same case for all the other actors.
Yes. Speaking of COVID, so you guys were starting your final season and then had to halt for at least a year. How was it like to have to take that break and then revisit this character for a final time?
It was bizarre. It was bizarre because we were going back to work with COVID, dealing with COVID for the first time. For me, my storylines were completely separate from the group because Quiet Anne was at war with Desna. So I didn't get to see everyone as much, and we're coping with like every day there's new rules and regulations and adjustments where COVID was concerned. So it felt, and we're all so close. We all lived in the same building, but we hardly saw each other. So it was a surreal experience the last season that ended a little bit anticlimactically because towards the end there were cases that were reported on the set and people they had to shut down and rearrange. Um, so it was strange, but we all were there and completely supportive of each other. It just didn't seem like that on-set vibe grand finale that I think we all hoped for, given the how proud we are of the show and how what relationships we forged as a result of it.
Yeah. You were talking about during this season, you're definitely less with kind of the main girls and the cast members. How was it like working with being in this new world with Uncle Daddy and kind of his outlandish ways of doing things? Like, how was that to create a completely different path for your character?
It was as bizarre as it would seem. You know what I mean? We had a great dynamic. He was very much about getting the scene done and moving on. A super funny, professional, talented guy. But it was, an adjustment. I would say an adjustment in terms of getting comfortable with the story and the character. But it was a lot of fun reinventing and creating something new and becoming like this villain potentially villainous entity along with his character, which has already been set. So we had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say throughout the entire series, your favorite scene to shoot?
Ooh. I had a wonderful, a really fun stunt that I had to shoot. Not really sure if it's aired yet. That was a lot of fun. I can't really do a spoiler on that, but there was a great, very involved stunt that took like days to rehearse and a couple of hours to shoot. That was really a lot of fun and exciting to do. It's always, I always have a lot of fun working with the stunt people and trying to, do my, as much as I can of my coverage before watching them and practicing and rehearsing whatever it is that we get to do. So I really love to do that.
Yeah. Speaking of fun scenes, we won't have to go into the details because I don't believe it officially aired yet. How was it like shooting a puppet scene in the hospital? Um, that was kind of just out there, but the character is having an hallucination. How was that like?
It was a riot. It was so funny. It was so hard to trying not to crack up. And these puppets are brilliantly made. It was so much fun. We couldn't stop laughing. We had to keep breaks just to stop cracking up at each other. And these incredible what do you call it? Operators of the puppets, puppeteers, right? I was operators. Who are just magnificent, and you forget that they're there and you're actually talking to this puppet, which is always fascinating to me, that even I end up like forgetting that these operators and these puppeteers are there doing this thing, and they're so hilarious.
So you guys were on set when that was happening. That wasn't a separate recording?
That was, some of it was separate, but we got to watch it, so it was really great.
Okay, awesome. And yeah, the puppets are so detailed, even like down to the nails for each character. That was probably my favorite scene this season. So I love that a lot. What would you say was kind of like the most outlandish storyline throughout the entire series?
Outlandish storyline throughout the entire series. It was all so crazy. Why are you asking me such a question? I couldn't tell you what was crazier. I mean, we'd slip into these wonderful fantasies and these huge dance number that we had last season. That was absolutely insane. But so much fun rehearsing and getting the dances right. Outlandish storyline. I don't have an answer for that. I mean, this season is pretty out there. Oh, well, last season when I lost my wife, that was pretty insane.
Yeah.
Right? Blowing up a casino and continuing to wreak havoc all along Southern Florida.
Yes, for sure. And I see that you usually live tweet the show when it's on air. How's it like to live tweet and get people's reaction to something that you've already done?
It's fun. It's also a little bizarre. I'm not sure. Like I'm still like I'm much older than the Gen Zers right now, so I never know if my answers get there right away or if I send it. But it's been really good. It's been really good to see how many fans the show has and how excited they are to watch it and how invested they are. And it's also great to watch it and to live tweet because it helps me remember, because it's been such a long time. Helps me remember what it is that we were doing at that time. And it's great to catch up with the other girls while we're live tweeting, and Jen Lyon, who's always hilarious, giving us something to crack up about. But yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Mm-hmm.
Did you take anything from set as like a memento?
I got so many of Quiet Anne's sneakers. I'm so happy. I haven't worn a heel since the show started, but I've got all of Quiet Anne's kicks that I wear on a regular basis. Yes.
Yeah, I would love her shoes and her sweatshirts and also her bat. I feel like you can never go wrong with a bat for any reason.
You're right about that.
For sure. So what's next? You're kind of, to me, a queen of television. Like, what would you love to do next?
I would love to do some documentaries. I'm working on a documentary about freestyle music. I'd love to be involved in producing such a thing, and also get involved in producing content that tells our stories, as Latinos, because as much as things continue to get better, I think that there's so many more stories to be told than the ones that we continue to hear.
Yeah.
So I'm getting involved in a few projects this year that I'm excited to get off the ground.
That's super exciting, and I look forward to it. And I really appreciate you taking the time out to talk to me, and I can't wait to see how it all ends and wraps up.
I can't wait to see what you think. Thank you so much for